Welcome to R&B Guitar Flow. This is a 7-day learning pathway. So every single day you're gonna have a guided lesson. We're gonna learn some new chords, some new techniques and concepts. I recommend committing a minimum of 30 minutes of practice a day. If you're taking it more seriously, maybe you could go up to an hour. You'll get the most out of this class if you do that. Now, days off are also inevitable. You might need to take a day off because of work or something comes up, and that's absolutely fine. I actually recommend taking 1 or 2 days off throughout this 7-day course just to give you a little bit more time to process and digest all the information. As a prerequisite to this class, I recommend checking out my other masterclass called Back to Basics. This will give you a really solid foundation in your triads, arpeggios, and 7th chords, which is very necessary to really succeed and thrive in this class. So grab your guitar and let's get started. Welcome to day 1. Today we're going to take a look at a really popular R&B progression. I'm going to teach you some new chord voicings as well as some fun and interesting concepts to really tie it all together. Let's dive in. So let's first start by introducing you to a couple new ways to play a major 7 chord. Now we all probably have our go-to voicings, right? If I said play a C major 7, we have our good old A string root and E string root, right? Now I want to show you a couple different voicings that you can play to replace these, which give you more of that R&B sound. So the first chord we're going to look at is C major 9. Now you might have played this chord before. If it's new for you, it's one of my favorites. It's a really great sound. So we're here on the A, D, G, and B strings. So fingering wise, I'm doing middle finger A string 3rd fret, pointer finger D string 2nd, pinky on the G string 4th, and then ring finger on the B string 3rd fret. And that gives us root, 3rd, 7th, and 9th. And keep in mind, you can move this chord to any root that you need it. So if I say play an E major 9, find E, play your E major 9 there. Now, another voicing that I really love and you hear all the time in R&B guitar, which I want you to build off of this voicing in your head, okay? All these new chord voicings you're learning, I want you to anchor or attach to something that you're familiar with. So the new voicing is right here. And you might say, wait a minute, isn't that an A minor 9? I always play that when I play A minor 9. Well, yes, it is an A minor 9, but also it's just a C major 7 with the 5th in the bass. It's the same exact notes if you look at it. It's literally just the 5th, root, 3rd, and 7th of C. So we can use this as a C major 7 voicing. Now the way I want you to think about this is attach it to your go-to standard C major 7 voicing, right? Here's my standard voicing, and then I say, oh, well, there's my 5th, which means I can always build this shape basically 2 frets higher off the D string, right? So again, if I said play E major 7, you can always attach that one shape to that voicing. Now, another really great major 7 voicing that I like to use or substitute out is this big 6/9 sound with the major 7th in it. So here's how the chord sounds, but instead of playing the root, I'm going to introduce you to a really strong R&B concept, which is where we just don't play the root and we play the upper structure or the top half of a chord voicing. So what I want you to do is I want you to bar here the 7th fret of the D, G, B, and E strings, okay? All with your pointer finger, and then you're gonna add your middle finger on the B string right here on the 8th fret. And hopefully the bass player or the piano player, someone is playing the root C, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So we're just playing those top 4 notes, right? Which is gonna be our 6th, 9th, 5th, and major 7th. So a really colorful voicing here. And the way I want you to memorize this, right, is attach it to your root C. So if I say, here's my C major 7, I can just go, oh, well, there's my C 6/9 with the major 7 in it. Now this voicing is extra colorful, right? Because we don't have the root or the major 3rd. And the major 3rd is always like the superstar defining note of any chord. So I really like this one, and it's a very, very staple sound in R&B. One last voicing I want you to know for major 7 swap out is gonna be this fun little 6/9 chord. And again, we're not worrying about the root. We're scrapping the root, leaving it behind. We're moving on. We're just playing that top half, which gives us a lot of color. So all I'm doing here are the top 4 strings, D, G, B, and E strings. I have my pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the D and G, and then my ring finger or middle finger, however you want to play it. It's more comfortable for me to use my ring on the 3rd fret. So that's going to give us our 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 5th of C, right? So again, the way I want you to anchor this shape is go, okay, well, here's my C, right? When I play, you know, C major, or I play my C major 9, and it's right off of the 3rd of C, right? So now when you see a major 7 chord in any chord progression, you don't always have to just stay on, right? Now you have all these new options. You can hit, all these colors are really the defining sound of R&B. So make sure you get these under your muscle memory. That's gonna be most important. And then I'll show you how to apply them to real life chord progressions. So with those new chord voicings in mind, let's take a look at a very common R&B chord progression in the key of D. Chord progression is gonna go like this: G major 7, D major 7, B minor 7, to F sharp minor 7. Right? Now, the interesting thing here is when we go to play the R&B chord progression, a lot of people will go, cool, well, you know, I can play it just fine, but it never really sounds like that R&B style, right? And that's because a lot to do with your right hand technique, right? If we're just strumming the chords straight down, we're not really getting the juice out of it. So what I want you to try to do with your right hand is try introducing some arpeggiation and some more rhythmic motion with that right hand. So what I mean by that is, instead of just strumming every single chord, right? Maybe what I'll do is I'll arpeggiate through one chord, strum another one, maybe reverse the arpeggiation and go again. That would sound like this, right? Right? You're getting that R&B feel all of a sudden, right? And that's just from a couple different ways of arpeggiating through the chords. I was just literally going through, nothing fancy. I'm just picking every single string down, right? So on top of the arpeggiations, the right hand is also very dynamically diverse, meaning we can get very loud and hard with it, or we can get very soft. And that is another staple in R&B rhythm guitar, right? I'm not always playing the same dynamic volume. If I was always hammering, there's not a whole lot of feeling in that, right? So maybe I crescendo into a chord. Maybe I start quiet and then get really loud on top, snap with an upstroke, right? Something like that. I could do that reverse. I could start loud, get quiet. Right? And doing this kind of, you know, simulates like a backbeat or a drummer, what a drummer would be doing in the songs. So utilizing that right hand technique, especially with dynamics, is really going to take your rhythm playing to the next level. So your homework assignment for today is to practice all of your new major chord voicings and try applying them into our chord progression of the day, right? That again being G major 7, D major 7, B minor 7, F sharp minor 7. So what I want you to do is, every time you go through that chord progression, for the 2 major 7 chords, right? For G major 7 and D major 7, I challenge you to play a different voicing each time. So maybe I start by going, okay, I'll play through it normally first, right? And now when I come back around the first time, I'm gonna play a different voicing. Maybe for G major 7, I'll hit, here's my D major 7, right? The next time through, maybe I'll play that 6/9 voicing. And then just really mix and match the chords so you don't always have to play the identical voicing for the G and the D. I could start by playing G major 9 to D 6/9, right? Again, use this creative exercise as a way to really start mastering those chord voicings and really internalizing that sound. Good luck practicing, and I'll see you tomorrow.